Hey, this is Chris with Ugly.Teacher.Hiking. Today we're going to take a look at the Flextail mp2 Pro pump with light. Is it good or not? Let's talk about it. Ugly.Teacher.Hiking. I hike it so you don't have to. Let's take a look at the mp2 Pro by Flextail. Comes in this little bag, which is always a nice thing to have with a pump itself, so it keeps all the nozzles and the actual pump in here. So let's see what it actually comes with. It comes with the pump itself, and 5 nozzles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And a USB-C charger to charge the pump itself. Now initially, pick up the pump. It has some weight to it. Here's the charge port. It's got USB-C and USB-A, which is always nice to have a backup to charge your phone or if something that were to happen. This is to deflate. This air is to deflate. This is to inflate. Now, it has some weight to it. Truthfully, it feels like cheap plastic. It feels like cheap plastic. And the nozzles themselves, just cheap plastic. Except for this attachment. Now all 5 of these attachments are for something else. I can't really find on the website which is for which in specific in any way. So you have to play it by ear. I know this one's for inflating, like inflatables. This one will fit my Nemo Tensor. That's my biggest concern because that's what I have, a Nemo Tensor. So initial, it looks nice, heavy. It's got a nice little ring on top. It's got the light and it's got the pump. So we will talk more about that in a moment. But before that, let's get into the measurements. So we're going to start off with getting the dimensions. We're going to start off with the height. I always like to start off with the height. So it's 77.8 millimeters or 3.06 inches. The width or the diameter that's 2.03 inches or 51.6 millimeters. Now let's take this. That's 58.2 millimeters or 2.29 inches. So they have some nice size to it. So let's try to put on this attachment. Oh, I think it's this one. This one for the Nemo Tensor. As you can see, it's hard plastic onto hard plastic. It's tough. Once you get that on there, it is very difficult to get it off. So with this nozzle attached to it, we're looking at approximately 3.14 inches or 80 millimeters. So that's with that attachment on here. Now let's get the weight. So we will look at the weight here. That gets us 5.5 ounces, but we got to remember we're not going to use this alone by itself. So we're going to need the nozzle, which shouldn't add that much. That gets us 5.6 ounces. Then we're going to need the power cable to power it. I would use any generic USB-C that I would have for other electronics, but let's just plop that in there. So right now we're at 6 ounces. 6 ounces. Now we also are going to probably want to carry the bag so we don't get anything clogged in the intake or the inflate areas. So that gets us 6.2 ounces. 6.2 ounces. This is getting heavier and heavier. Now let's look at how to use this. So as I showed you before, you have the little hanger part here. You have 2 buttons on the side. Let's start off with the light. 1 click does nothing. You have to double click it. That's extra bright. Hold the button down. It gets dimmer. And it gets brighter. So we look at this, according to the site, you get 76 hours on the lowest setting, which is 50 lumens, or 12 hours at the highest setting, which is 500 lumens. And keep in mind also, there is a 3,600 milliamp battery in this. To use the pump, remember this is the inflate side. To use the pump, 1 click does nothing. You have to double click. Hold it in to turn it to the lower speed. 1 to turn it off. Now to take the nozzle off, to deflate, it is very difficult. Put it on there, double click. So deflate, turn it off. So according to the website, you'll get 60 minutes at low or 30 minutes at high. Now keep in mind this is only a 3,600 milliamp battery, so that is good for like emergencies. This will last you a good, I'd say probably weekend, a little longer, depending on use. It comes down to use. Now I've also seen people use this pump for once they get their fire going, to stoke the fire by blowing air on it. So it has many uses. It's a great little pump. Now let's see this in real world applications. Let's go to my Nemo and let's see how long it takes to inflate my Nemo mattress. All right, so let's take a look at this Flextail pump. Here I have my Nemo Tensor, regular wide. I keep my Flextail pump in here in the bag with all the nozzles. Typically, if I'm going camping, I take out all the old nozzles and just keep the one I'm using. All right, so I would take the pump out. My Flextail or my Nemo Tensor has the inflating bag with it. If I'm going car camping or something along those lines, I bring it with me just to be on the safe side. If I'm going real camping, backcountry, I probably wouldn't take this. I would just take the pump itself. So we get into this. Here's the pump. Here's the standard attachment for my pump. Now it's difficult to get on, but once it gets on there, it's tough to get off. So if you're not fairly strong, you might have a difficult time. So that's why I suggest just keeping the one that you're going to use on here, leaving it in the bag. I wouldn't lug all the other parts around. So with this, open up the valve itself. Now the problem I have with this is I have to actually hold it the whole time. It doesn't stay in. So that is a problem. So let's give this a try. Let's see how long it takes to actually fill this, and then we'll talk about it. So that is 36 seconds, and I don't even have to add any more air to it. It is firm. It is firm the way it is. It does a beautiful job. It does a really nice job inflating this. And at 36 seconds, man, this thing will go for days. Now, one thing I want to do as well is to deflate this pad. The pad is inflated. So let's deflate it. So we got to take this nozzle off. I would never do this in the field. I would just open the valve and give it a minute, do something else while I'm waiting on that to be done. So take that off, plop it on here. Keep in mind, these are hard plastic, and once they start stretching out, you take it off on too hard, too many times, it's going to give way. Something's going to break, or it's just going to stretch out. So let's see how well this does at emptying the pad. Yeah, they stink for deflating pads. And you have this part here on the Nemo Tensor, which doesn't give you a good seal. So would I use this to deflate a pad? No. Would I even take this plunger off or this attachment off again? No, I'd leave it to inflate. So that was a flop to deflate the pad. Now I do like the fact that it has the light on here. I typically don't use it. I have a headlamp, so the light is nice, but if I'm going camping, maybe with family, friends, I would like this pump. Do I like this? Overall, it's a nice pump. It's heavy, heavy. Do I like the features on it? Oh yes. It's nice to have a backup battery. It's nice to have the easy plugs, USB-C, USB-A for emergency. Is it worth the money, the $42 that it costs? Oof, I don't know. I think it is, especially if you're inflating more than one mat. If you're inflating just one for yourself, there may be other options out there, but if you're inflating multiple mats, this is the way to go. So hopefully you like this video. Please click like and subscribe. Remember, I need you to click like and subscribe. There are a lot of you watching these videos without subscribing. So please click like and subscribe. Remember, I do this so you don't have to. I hike it so you don't have to. So have a great day.